Welcome to the Equine Vet Connect podcast. I'm your host, Dan Carter. I'm a veterinarian and a farrier. The goal of this podcast is to educate horse people, break things down, bust myths, and keep it real. Speaking of breaking things down, here's my legal disclaimer to keep my attorney and insurance company happy. While I am a vet, I may not be your vet. Contact them before trying anything you hear on this podcast. Remember, just because you watched it on YouTube or heard it on a podcast does not mean you can do it. Please use common sense.
Welcome back to the Equine Vet Connect podcast. I am your host, Dr. Caroline Brown. Dan's out today, so I have with me a special guest. This is Chris DeRaney. He is here with us from Medieval Times. Welcome to our podcast. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Real excited to be here.
Is this your first ever podcast?
This is my first ever podcast.
Well, welcome. So it's not as scary as it seems. So just, we're just going to have a conversation. And
I know I look terrified right now.
You're very intimidating. So, but Chris is one of our trainers at Medieval Times. So, we thought to bring him on the podcast and talk about his experience there, what it's like in his role, what it's like for the horses there. Because I think we get a lot of questions too, like when we talk about
Sure.
the horses in Medieval Times, they're like, wait, they have vets? We're like, yeah, there's 20 horses over there. They need veterinary care. And
You guys have horses?
yeah, there's horses, and you work in a mall.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That is crazy. I didn't start working at a mall, so that transition was a little weird for me to go out and autographs after the show and look across and see a Nike store. But,
You're like, oh yeah, go get some Cinnabon
Yeah.
while you're there. So, but so Chris, tell us what's your story? How did you end up at Medieval Times?
Okay, so 2013, I had just finished school and was looking for a job in my field and wasn't too excited about it. And I'd been doing martial arts since I was 5 years old. I love medieval times and nerdy historical stuff. And that's something that I always, I guess, kept in my back pocket mentally. I was like, oh, I could try this. When I was a kid at summer camp, one of my counselors was a squire at Medieval Times, and he told us about it. It seemed like the coolest job ever. And every year, it was my favorite field trip. I always looked forward to it. So no horse experience,
Really?
But lots of weapons, combat, choreography stuff. And so I kind of just shot my shot. I definitely did not apply the right way. I sent a very nerdy and embarrassing email that will never see the light of day, and somehow landed an interview. Started in the stables like everyone else, but got hired as a squire to be a knight. And even then, when I first walked in, again, not an equestrian, but I saw my first head horse trainer. His name was Marcial Contreras. And I was like, oh, his job seems pretty cool. And then I saw a trainer who really inspired me, Javier Ortiz. I don't know if you've ever seen him when he's visited from Texas.
No, I haven't.
But the first time I saw his solo act dressage routine, I was like, oh, I didn't know dressage could be cool like that. And I caught the bug there. And then I had to ride every horse because I figured out if I wanted to do more shows, I had to ride the horses that other people didn't want to ride. And even as a new knight, if I could do that, I would do more shows. And then I just got obsessed with working with horses. It was like little puzzles, each one was different.
You caught the bug.
Yep.
You caught the bug.
And so I would always go up to the trainers, be like, hey, who are you working with? Who do you need help with? You need a guy in the saddle. And I became the unofficial colt starter.
Really?
Yep. Anytime we got a new horse, I was the one that wanted to jump on it first, put it in the show first. And eventually my trainer now, Felipe Ramirez, who, asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to be an assistant? And eventually, when the time was right, I made that move, and here I am.
That's really interesting. See, I didn't know that you didn't have any horse experience
None.
Going into it.
Suburban kid from New Jersey.
That's so cool. So there's about 20 horses that are in the program.
27 right now.
We have really?
We just got 2 new babies. We got a baby Frisian, Bucephalo, and our V baby from the Medieval Times ranch, Vivaldi.
Okay. So wow. Okay, so 27 horses.
And then we took back a retired horse that the owner we retired them to couldn't care for him anymore.
That's right.
So we have Sereno back, and we're taking him to the Medieval Times ranch early July to have a great time out there.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
out in Sanger, Texas.
So there is a breeding program then within medieval times.
There is, yeah, for all our Andalusians.
So let's talk about like the horses that are part of the team. Like,
Sure.
what makes them a good candidate to be like one of these horses? Like, let's talk about the Andalusians first,
Sure.
because they're very different profiles between
course.
all of them. So,
Well, you kind of look for that perfect middle ground, right? You want a horse that's excited enough to perform at a very high level, but calm enough to be able to handle all the crazy stimulus that a medieval times horse needs: the lights, the crowd, the music, everything.
yes.
And that's a blend. I've seen very athletic, beautiful horses that weren't the right fit for that program, and it's not too often, because the way we work our training program there, I would say like 95, maybe even higher % success rate. But every once in a while, you see a horse that, I don't think he'd have fun doing this. But that level of trainability, I think, outweighs the athletic performance a little bit, because you can help a horse get stronger.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different jobs in our show that aren't super complicated. A games horse, a joust horse, that's all straight lines. They're not doing, they're not dancing. As far as Andalusians and the dressage horses, there's levels to that too. Not every Andalusian is going to be our solo act master of horse, mount. That takes a special horse and a special trainer and a long time to make. But any horse can learn Spanish walk. Any horse can learn piaffe. Any horse can learn to rear.
Right. I mean, and that's the same across like all of our disciplines. I mean, like it does take some level of, raw talent that these horses have. Like, they have to be athletic, they have to have this, but they have to be trainable too. And I think what's interesting when we work on these horses is majority of them are stallions, intact stallions. And they're some of the like most well-behaved, like kindest horses that we work on. Like, which is crazy to think about, because some people are like, oh, I would never have a stallion. And I'm
You
like,
hear a lot of barns like that. Yeah.
and I'm like, no, these horses are gentlemen. Like, they are like so like easygoing, and like, I mean, like, you would never know.
It takes a lot of time.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Again, but it's that trainability, and with how much work you guys just put into these horses, and they love their job.
They do.
They love their job. It's so cool.
People
like,
ask that all the time. They're like, oh, do they like this? And I tell them about Irlandez, who does our dressage solo act. And we have this one server named Jalen. He's a great guy. And whenever I come out for my solo act, dressage is not what medieval times is known for, right? We're known for the jousting, the knights, the fighting. And so my solo act is often when people get their happy birthday songs or go to the bathroom. But it's really cool when the crowd gets into it. And this guy gets everybody clapping in rhythm with the Spanish music and the horses dancing, and he feels it.
Yeah.
In his heart, he feels it. And I feel him start to reach a little higher,
that's
passage
so
a little
cool.
more. Like, he loves to perform. He's a star and he knows it.
That's amazing. That's so funny, because I mean, they do, like, these horses all have personality, and like, I mean, like, this is work for them, but like, this is what they're like meant
It's
to
in their
do.
soul, that competitive spirit. Those quarter horses, they line up for a javelin run. They see that curtain open and they're like, oh boy, here we go.
I think Dr. Carter was just there watching the show, and he said it's like so funny to see, like, even like when the guys like fall off, these horses just immediately know what to do. They're like, oh nope, turn around, go back. Like, he's like, that's just crazy that like they know this job so well.
That's the cool part about our show is, a lot of times people compare it to Groundhog Day. It's the same show every day, but animals thrive on consistency and routine. And so we do the same thing every day. It's just, they get it. They're like, yeah, this is what I do.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So we talked about the Andalusians, and so you guys also have quarter horses then. So are they also part of a breeding program?
No, we have a couple of trainers around the country that know what we're looking for and work with corporate. And, when they ask them for horses, they send us stuff, up our alley, the right color, the right size, the right experience level and temperament. and they come from all over.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, everybody's favorite quarter horse in the barn here in Atlanta is Bird.
We love Bird.
Everybody loves Bird.
We love Bird.
He's a hometown hero. He's from Georgia. I always joke, born a stone's throw from this very stadium.
He's such a good boy. He's so funny. I think one of my favorite things about like going and like working at Medieval Times, because we're always, kind of in the back of the castle, like, when there's not a show going on, but like how much these, riders and the cast just bond with these horses. Like, I mean, like they're like teammates. It's so cool to see them. And like,
they love them.
Like that's always like one of my favorite things just about, being a vet in general is like seeing that relationship between, like the horses and, the people that work with them and ride them and everything. But like, I mean, like your guys love their animals.
They take them home with them if they could.
Oh, they could. Yes, they have told me that several times too. So
I think Jacob Rust is actually planning to adopt Bird when he retires.
Oh, is he
year.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that for him.
Yeah.
So most of the riders then, let's kind of, because we can transition into that. Are they horse people?
Nope.
Or no, they're not?
Maybe 5% of the people that we get.
Really?
We kind of look for that, again, a blend, right? You need that blend of jock and nerd to come together in a perfect marriage to become a knight.
That's a very good description of the
I think a
people
lot of
there.
us identify as that. You know, we go to the gym, but we also play World of Warcraft, and the training program and the education is really great. We have such great trainers in our program, such an awesome lineage, which I don't think a lot of people know, that our lineage goes all the way back to Spanish cavalry. Our first horse trainer, Don Victor de Lara, was in the Spanish cavalry.
Really?
And so, our parade routine is a cavalry routine. A lot of people think, oh, you guys ride English there. I mean, we ride classical dressage, and we don't really ride English. We ride a style called Doma Vaquera Español, which is like Spanish Western style. It's cavalry style. You see bullfighting horses. That's the style that they ride with one hand, no knot in the reins, long arm, short rein, nice dressage frame, but everything done with one hand.
Wow.
And the other hand is open to hold a weapon or a flag, and that's the classical style.
I mean, and it's so cool to even just, because I've seen the show in like bits and pieces. I've never actually like sat down and watched the entire thing straight through, but like between being there and like sitting in on some stuff, I've seen it all. But it's like, you guys do that. You guys have, the dressage. Like I had one of my girls with me that does drill team, and she was like, they're doing drill right now. I was like, it's just so cool seeing all the different styles like come together.
Formation riding's really cool. Yeah.
And like, it's again, like just the fact that you guys have to know all of that too, and be able to do that, and that these horses know how to do that too, and training them. It's amazing to see it. So, and I like talking to the guys too, because they kind of have a similar story to you, where like they started just working in the barn as the crew, and then kind of slowly like moving their way up. How do you get these guys like comfortable like around the horses and like getting them training to that level?
I think, we have kind of a unique job where it's not somewhere you just end up. Like it's something you seek out. And so the people that are there, they really want to be there. They want to be around the horses. And sometimes too much. You got to be like, hey, man, slow down. Like you got to learn their language first. And yeah, getting them to be around the horses or want to ride is never a problem. It's getting them, they all want to be so good, so fast. They want to do their best. We have a really motivated team. And so that's actually the challenge, is like, hey man, it's going to come. You've only been riding for like a year. You're going to figure this stuff out. I would say around 3 to 5 years is where they really start coming into their own as riders.
That's the thing too, is how many of them have been there for so long too.
We actually have a pretty young team here now. I would say most of the team is like 5 years or less. And then, you have your veterans like Jean and Rion and Brandon that have been there, 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And, me and Jeff, who have been there around the same time, a little less than those guys.
And it's not just a like, oh, like they're just doing this until they find something else to do. It's like, no, like you said, like they were seeking this job out. Like this is what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool. Like
no, we all of us, we want to retire from this company.
Be part of it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what does a typical, work day look like for you? at Medieval Times?
Well, I show up there at 7 a.m. with the stable hands. We do the first feeding, first muck. The nights show up around 9 a.m. And I like the barn to be spotless by the time they get there. They'll warm up for an hour. They do yoga while the squires come and help the stable hands and me tack up the horses and get ready for practice. We'll do a little morning practice. The horses come up and eat lunch. When all the horses are worked, then the knights go and practice their fights. And that's what a dark day looks like for us. And then the horses will get, dinner later in the evening and relax the rest of the night. On a show day, they have mornings off and, everybody comes in the afternoon and it's kind of flipped.
And then the show days, those, because the shows are a couple hours usually.
About an hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what's that like? What's that prep going into the show?
So we start prep, 2 hours before the show, baths, putting the tack at all the stalls and stuff. About an hour for the show, we start tacking up the horses. Half hour before the show, we start bringing them down. And about 15 minutes before the show, everything should be ready.
And, and this is all going on in a mall, at least at our location. So, how is it like managing like a whole barn inside of a mall? Like, because you guys have to have, hay and food in there, like, manure, everything. Like,
honestly, it's a pretty good setup. It's pretty easy. I've worked in a few barns, and ours has air conditioning and concrete floors and matted stalls, so it's pretty nice. We're really spoiled. Automatic waterers.
It's cold in there sometimes too. Like in the summers, I'm like, ooh, I have to bring a jacket with me in here.
Yeah, no, we're spoiled over there. Hay, we don't have to go very far. We get it brought in those 18-wheelers, and it's not 50 feet from the barn door. We have dumpsters out there to bring the manure. So everything's pretty localized. And since a lot of our stable hands are new to horses too, it's a great first horse job, I think, because everything's really regimented and planned out and close by and safe and trainable. And you have a lot of help. Yes. It's a very teamwork job over there.
Yeah. That's what I've noticed. Because I get to interact with a lot of you guys, but most of my interaction, I feel like when I'm there on vet days, is I'm with the barn hands.
Yeah.
Like I'm with them, and like they know their job and they take it so seriously. And it's like, one of those horses poops, it's like it's out of there almost immediately. Like these guys are like very on it.
We take a lot of pride in our barn, and we have a great team.
Yes, you guys do have a really good team. So let's talk about, I think one of the things that people always ask about is, well, like, do these horses get turned out? Do they ever get to go be a horse? So what is that like for them?
So every week, Felipe lives on our local Medieval Times ranch out in Decula. I think it's about 14 acres. So our weekend, which is Monday, Tuesday, so Sunday nights, he'll take 6 horses out to the ranch to spend the weekend there. And we'll rotate those horses out every week on a need basis. And then he'll pick maybe a couple horses that will stay out there for maybe 2 to 4 weeks and have like a real vacation. And that also is on a rotating basis. And then the horses that are at the castle, every horse gets turnout time in the arena as well. So, they don't just come down to the arena for work. They come down for play and relaxation also.
And they enjoy it. Like, I don't, like, one of the things people always ask me is they're like, oh, like, well, because when they hear that we work on them and they're like, but they're in a mall the whole time. I'm like, no, they have their little breaks and stuff. And they're like, isn't that sad? I'm like, honestly, they love their job. They love this job and they're fine with it. Sometimes I've seen them at the ranch too, and they're like, I don't know what to do.
And it's, different for the quarter horses and for the Andalusians. Like all of the geldings, they get to run together in a herd, which is awesome for them. And then the stallions actually prefer their privacy a little bit, their own dominion, if you will.
Fair.
And so they each have their own really nice turnout. And they love being at work, but they also have a great time on the ranch. Some of them actually want to come back to work.
I think they do too. Sometimes I think I've talked to Felipe
Fuego,
about some
Dorian,
of them. He's like,
they're
oh,
like,
they're
I'm
so
ready.
ready to be back.
Bring me back. I want to run. I want to compete.
They're like itching to go, like when they get back there, because they're like, oh yeah, they're a little antsy. They just got back from the ranch. They need to go do their job. I'm like, I feel that sometimes too.
Yeah.
If I get too long of a vacation, I'm like, I need to go do
a little cooped up.
Is I think one of the questions I get to is, like, what do we do for, like preventative care with these guys too, and like what does their health care look like. And like one thing I've always said to people is, when I die, I'm coming back as one of these horses, because I think they have
Dr. Carter says that too.
Yes. Like they just have some of like the best, like, like welfare management and, care and everything. Like, I mean, there is no questions asked when it comes to like getting things done for these horses.
We spare no expense.
No, like, and it's never been a question of like, well, what is this going to cost? And like, what is this going to look like? We're just like, nope. We're going to get it done, and we're going to figure
anything
it out.
our horses need, our horses get.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we go there, a couple times a year for preventative care. So we do vaccines on these guys. We do regular deworming on them.
All the dental work
on them.
Yep.
They get pretty regular farrier care as well.
Yep.
So farriers out there, a couple times a month usually.
It's a dream job for a farrier.
Because most of them are in shoes.
Yeah.
Of some kind.
Yeah,
so,
at least in the fronts.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, we talk about like nutrition with these guys. Most of them are on like all forage diet completely, like all forage diet. I think we've had a couple that we've had to, like add a little bit of extra calories just for some weight management. But
but most of them are on that mix of alfalfa and Bermuda.
And they do fantastic.
We have really easy keepers.
Yes. Yeah. Very
Our
easy
horses
keepers.
Look very healthy.
Yes. And like one of the things too, people ask me, they're like, well, do they get like joint maintenance? Do they get like injuries and treatments for that? And we do not do a lot of joint maintenance out there.
Very rarely. I think in the past few years, once, maybe twice.
That I can think of.
Yeah.
Like we've had some that we need to, do some podiatry stuff. We've had a couple like, kind of really like out of left field like injuries and stuff, like soft tissue injuries, but we're not out there doing like joint injections.
We're very meticulous about our training, making sure that when the horses are, riding hell for leather in those games and those bola fights, we start straight, stop straight, pick up the correct leads, all of that. In our high school stuff, we make sure our horses are straight and balanced. We make sure our riders are the right weight, they're in shape. If something's not going well, we don't let it continue to not go well, and we maintain our arena very well. We make sure everything's safe for the horses. All the weapons that are up there are on rubber hooks. So the crowd can't tell that they're rubber, but if, a horse grazes past it, it just, bends with them and comes back. We make sure there's enough sand in the arena, and they drag that arena every day before every show, make sure that everything's all level and nice and there's plenty of footing for the horses. We don't play around.
No. And I think we were talking about this, before we started recording, but just like the sheer athleticism of these horses, a lot of it is, kind of that just natural athletic ability. But the way that you guys, condition these horses and train these horses, I think is so unique and is like, honestly, the way that a lot of people should be doing it. Because like these horses are performing a lot.
Yeah.
But, they're not out here, doing I think any more, any less than some of our other like big top athletes that we work on.
Felipe and I joke that the horses might work 2 hours a week in total.
Yeah.
In the shows and stuff. Yeah. A lot of it is running a straight line for 5 seconds, stand around for 5 minutes.
Right.
And then rinse and repeat.
Right. But just the fact that these horses are able, like, you were talking about the way that they land and, the way that they
yes, and our capriols.
And,
so the capriole is a high school technique where the horse collects, jumps in the air and kicks with its back legs. And we have to be very careful that how the horse lands and how we support the horse. And so the tough part of this technique is not getting the horse to jump and kick. It's making sure he lands safely. So when he jumps, you have the right amount of contact in your hand with the reins that he stays kind of uphill with his withers higher than his haunches. And so that way when he kicks, he lands on all fours and not just his fronts. Which
that takes such a level of, strength and control of their body that you guys have to basically train into them. And I mean, it kind of comes back to we see that in, human training and, everything. It's like, if you're doing a form correctly, and you have the strength to back it up, your risk of injury goes down
Well,
significantly.
I like to think about like how collection works mechanically, right? How, you get the rib cage and thoracic sling to rise, you bring their haunches underneath them, their back feet starts to reach farther, and you see that back start to flatten out. So suddenly their weakest, most vulnerable area becomes strong. The rider sits better on there, their fronts get lighter, they're not bearing down on their fronts, all their power is in their back, you're sitting over their center of gravity, and suddenly it's easy and you have self-carriage, and this horse is just going, and you got 2 fingers that you're holding onto those reins, and he's comfy, you're comfy.
That's great.
That synchronicity is one of the coolest feelings in the world when you have a really nicely set up collected canter. And then you can do anything with that. You can extend into a gallop, you can bring it back and pirouette, and all the levels of different horse athleticism start with collection.
And we appreciate it too on our end, because they're not injuring themselves and we don't have to have that whole conversation. So, these horses, you get them, and, about what age are they coming to you guys? I mean, it sounds like you guys are having some like young colts now.
Between 3 and 4,
Okay.
we get our Andalusians, and then if we get quarter horses, probably like 7 or 8.
Okay. And, how long are they staying with you guys?
Their whole career, typically.
Really?
Yeah.
They all typically stay at one castle then? Or?
Most of the time, if they go to a castle, they'll stay there. Sometimes if there's a need, they'll move around. But for example, like Ivan and Irlandez are eye babies. I talked to Felipe, he's known them their whole lives.
Really?
So they're going to be up for retirement in a couple of years. And so he'll have seen them from, being little green studs all the way to their retirement age.
That's so awesome.
People don't think about that, but I walk into that barn and I think of all the work that Felipe's put in there. I'm like, this is this man's Sistine Chapel.
Oh yeah.
This is his life's work. Anytime you walk into a barn, you think about that trainer and what they put into all those horses.
Because Felipe's been there for a very long time.
Since the castle opened in 2006, he's been there. Before that, he was in Chicago. And Felipe started just like any of us as a stable hand. He was a stable hand for 7 years.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. That's so interesting. We were just talking about retirement. What makes you decide when these horses are ready to retire? Is there an age? Is there just
around 18? Yeah.
18. Okay.
Yeah. That's when we like to, and it depends on the horse, right? Some horses are super athletes and they can go, a couple of years after that, but we like to retire them around 18.
And where do they go when they're retired?
So they'll either retire to, we vet all the people that they go to, but a lot of times it's people that we know. I've had a horse retired to me before, Canoso. Jean had his games horse, our head knight, had his horse Clifford retired to him a couple of years ago, and he has him right now over at his house. Like I said, Jacob Rust is going to have Bird retired to him. A lot of us have friends or know people, with good homes. I have a friend, her name is Julie, who's gotten a couple of medieval times horses from different castles, and she loves taking care of old horses and making sure that the rest of their life is super fun, and they go out on trails and just do, relaxed riding and stuff. If they have medical issues that would make them difficult to rehome, they go out to Sanger, where our Andalusians are all born. And they live out there, and they'll get taken care of, everything they need. And that's about a 200-acre ranch. And our corporate head horse trainer, Tim Baker, is out there and has an awesome program. And he's so organized and so dedicated to the horses. He's a special dude.
Yeah. I think one of the riders there was telling me about how, like their whole thing is like, oh, like if you take these horses, like, like you are taking that responsibility. And, if for some reason, like you can't take care of that horse anymore, like medieval times will take the horse back.
We have a contract. We reserve first buyback privileges.
Which is, I love that. I love that commitment to these horses, like, because again, they've done so much work for you guys, like their whole careers. And, the fact that you guys are still just taking care of them, like Serrano, who's back right now.
Yeah.
And
that was my favorite Bola horse. The Bola fight is the mounted combat. And he was a fantastic horse. And I'm really glad to be a part of making sure that his twilight years are happy and healthy, because he did a lot for me. So of course, we're going to do everything for him.
Yeah, no, it's really cool to see. So, are there any Are there any like retirement stories that kind of like stand out to you? You know, like has there been a horse that like you've been so excited to like see them like go through their career and then kind of reach a retirement and
You know, I luckily am still young enough where the horses that I came up with that were young horses are not retiring yet, but I am at that point in my career where I'm seeing horses that were young when I started at retiring age. And one that stands out is an Azteca from New Jersey named Galeno, who was the first horse that I rode in the show. He's a chestnut Azteca, and everyone that has ever worked with him would tell you that he's their favorite horse.
really?
And so he's actually retiring to a girl that used to be a stable hand with us in New Jersey that actually went to vet school, Sarah Connolly. Hi, Sarah. We're super proud of her, and we know you're going to take great care of Gallo.
That's so cool.
That was really cool to see. The story that's always a standout for me also, I call it living the dream, is our head knight, Jean, who had his games horse Clifford for years and years and years, and did every act in the show with him for the night stuff, the joust, the falls, the fights, the games, and then got to take Cliff home and, still has him, gets to see him every day. And that's his buddy, that's his best friend. Not a lot of people get to do that or have the means to do that. So that's why I call that living the dream, for a night.
That's so cool. Again, it's just that commitment to them, and it's like, this isn't just a dinner and jousting show. It really is like such a bonded program with you guys. And again, it's like Medieval Times has always been one of my favorite places to come and work, just because I love seeing everybody's relationship with these horses and how good of a bond they have with each other. We're super lucky. So yeah, you guys are, it's such a cool job.
Yeah, I have the coolest job in the world.
I bet. I'm like a little jealous. I'm like, dang, how do I go back and do that? So oh, that's cool. So do you have a favorite horse? We won't tell them.
I try not to. Because I don't own them and they can go to a different location. So I try my best not to fall in love. I did that once and had my heart broke when he moved to another castle. His name's Bandolero. He's Bayron Azteca.
Ooh.
He's fancy looking.
Very different.
And he's in Chicago right now. I met him in Texas. He got there on my birthday. And so I was like, oh, thanks.
It's meant
You're
to
mine.
be.
Yeah. And that was the first horse that I got to be a part of, like starting and breaking in. So he taught me a lot. We went through a lot together. And he was very hot. And any squirrely behavior you can think of, he showed me how to handle that. And so I had a lot of love for that horse and really wanted to see him all the way through. But they needed him in another castle. And, we don't own these horses, so you got to say goodbye.
Yeah. Got to let him go, live his dream, live what he needs to do. Oh, so is he still at the Chicago location?
He's still performing there.
Cool.
Yep. Right. And he's still fiery as ever.
Oh my God. That's the castle I used to go to growing up. So I went there for a couple shows. So I don't know.
I highly recommend everybody stops by to the Schaumburg location to see Mario Contreras' horses. Mario is a fantastic world-renowned trainer, and his horses are absolutely magnificent. And his barn is breathtaking, and his accomplishments are endless. Go check out his show. Go see his horses.
I'll have to go back next time that I'm there. So I'll check it out. Like now that I'm I have the insider perspective on it. So, all right. Well, I mean, we've talked about a lot today, but any kind of final words for it? What's something that I think you want the public to know about, Medieval Times and your job?
If you got questions, ask. We love to talk about our horses. I can talk about our horses for hours. I could sit here all day with you. Yeah.
That's cool. That's
come
awesome.
See us. Come see the show. See me in autographs. Ask me your questions. Love to meet you.
Yep. So this is Chris. He's at the Atlanta location in the what's Sugarloaf Mall.
Yep.
Sugarloaf Mall.
Formerly Discover Mills.
Is that what it was?
It was. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, years ago. Yeah. Sugarloaf Mills. I was in Lawrenceville.
So one of two Medieval Times in a malls is what.
Baltimore is the other one.
Baltimore's also in a mall.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was like, I think the first time I was told I was going up there, they're like, "Yes, so you're going to the mall." I'm like, "I'm going where?" Like,
it's us or Dave and Buster's. Take your pick.
I'll always pick medieval times.
There we go.
Yeah.
Huzzah.
You always got to go medieval times. So get a turkey leg while you're at it.
You got to go to medieval times.
All right. Well, Chris, thank you for joining us
thanks
today.
for having me, Doc.
So yeah, of course. For all of our listeners, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to send them in. We can shoot them Chris's way, and hopefully he can kind of touch on some things that we didn't touch on. But thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely.
Thank you to all of our listeners who are still here listening to us yap on for however many episodes we've been doing this now. If you guys have any questions or suggestions for us, please let us know. But y'all take care.
Bye, guys.